Hey, how's it going, people? It is your boy Johnny, and welcome to another Nintendo Switch 2 tutorial. In today's video, I'm going to teach you how to enable 120 Hz on your Nintendo Switch 2. So one of the first things that you want to make sure is that your television is compatible with 120 Hz. So most modern televisions should have 120 Hz by now, but there's still certain televisions that the stores are only selling with 60 Hz, or if you have an older television unit. So the first thing is actually not with your Nintendo Switch 2 settings. You're going to have to make sure of your settings on your television set. So for example, we're going to go ahead and go into our settings on our television, and we're going to go into our channel inputs, and we're going to go into external inputs. Alright, so every television is different. I have a Sony Bravia LG OLED. And as you guys can see, when I go to HDMI signal format, I have HDMI 1 enhanced with format and 3 and 4. So you want to go ahead and generally use the one that has enhanced format VRR, which is variable refresh rate, which is something that kind of fixes the frames in the game so you don't really experience lag, or HDMI 4. So these two HDMI inputs on the external on the television are the ones that I can actually use in order for me to get 120 hertz or variable refresh rate as well, or ALM, as I believe. So every television is different. Just make sure to check yours. Some televisions don't even have all these fours. They just have all of them in 4 that are already set to go for that. But if you have an older television, you usually have to enable it in the settings in order for you to get the 120 FPS hertz. So always make sure to put it in your right input on your television. Alright, we're going back to the Nintendo Switch 2. One thing you also want to make sure is that you use the HDMI cable that was provided to you by Nintendo. Or if you have a high capability HDMI. But usually I would just use the one that Nintendo Switch 2 comes with, because that's capable 120 hertz. But if you don't, use one that you may have lying around that is compatible with the newer speeds and stuff. So as you guys know, I have everything in 4K, but as you guys may know, where it says right here, outputs video at 120 hertz or 120 FPS when supported by both TV and software. So it only says that it's supported at 1080p and 1440p resolutions. So that means we're probably not going to get 4K 120 FPS, which is kind of normal. The Nintendo Switch 2 isn't really that powerful to handle. Not even the PlayStation 5 in certain games is even able to. So that's normal. 1080p is just fine for me. And as you got see, the other setting is auto low latency mode, which is kind of like the VRR, I believe, for television. So I definitely recommend enable that as well, and your HDR and stuff like that. So in order to know if you know how it's working, as you guys can see, it can output to 60 hertz, and when it is possible, it's only able to do it with 60 hertz with the 4K resolution. But if you switch it over to 1080p full HD, it's gonna give you the option to do it 120. As you guys can see right there, you get 120 hertz with HDR or without HDR at this resolution at 1080p. So I don't know if Nintendo is actually going to enable this automatically, even if you have it at 4K. I would leave it in automatic, to be honest, because you're always going to get 4K, and then the moments when you want to enable 120 hertz, that should be working as well. One thing that I want to mention is that certain games, you're going to have to enable them in the settings as well. So if you want to play 120 hertz, I'm going to assume that there's like performance levels that you can enable in certain games that will allow you to output that resolution, or it depends on how the game is optimized. But either way, that's pretty much all you have to do in order to get 120 hertz or 120 FPS. I know they call it 120 hertz, but it's usually a lot of PC gamers, the people who play PC, know that's basically 120 frames per second that you can get on your television. Anyways, guys, thanks for watching this video. Make sure to have a nice day, and make sure to hit that subscribe button for more Nintendo Switch 2 content.